Are the Golden State Warriors legit or fool's gold? Today, we're going to look at the postseason and determine if they're legit playoff threats this year. But we have to dig and look at what's actually happening with their roster and recent schedule that's causing them to take off. Could Steph and Dre get another ring? Can they stay consistent to topple an OKC team, a Lakers team, or the Cavs or Celtics? Hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and let's get some hoops. At the start of the 2024 to 2025 NBA season, the Warriors were a play-in team at best and a lottery team at worst. A few weeks before the season started, Klay Thompson told the boys that everything is bigger in Texas, including his contract. He cleared out his locker and threw them deuces up. That man was gone. No one in their right mind expected that woeful team to make the playoffs. I suppose a few Golden State fans were delusional enough to think that Steph was going to carry that basket of water roster to a championship, but I've come to accept that some Dubs fans are just insane. No sane person was betting on the Warriors to be anywhere near the finish line come the playoffs. A lot of people, myself included, were begging, dare I say demanding, that Mike Dunleavy and the guys upstairs do something drastic to the roster and stop wasting the few remaining good years of the chef. The team had a ton of holes and would most definitely get trashed in an unforgiving and stacked Western Conference. They needed more scoring from the wing. Their young bench was developing slower than sourdough, and they needed at least one true center. Unfortunately, little to no moves were made to fix these problems. They did sign Buddy Hield to add some scoring to the wing, and he did start the season pretty hot. As a matter of fact, the entire team had a blistering start to the season. They had a 13-3 record through the first 16 games. I think that amazing start gave the front office a false sense of hope, and as a result, no aggressive moves were made to become great. As expected, the team averaged out to their expected performance level and were quickly relegated to the play-in section of the standings in everyone's head. The Dubs were in big trouble, and they needed to do something quick if they wanted any chance of getting to the playoffs. Fast forward a few weeks later and the trade deadline is fast approaching, but no hope of landing a star in sight. The Golden State Warriors desperately needed to make a move before the trade deadline if they wanted to show any intention of making some noise in the postseason. There weren't many teams out there who were wanting to trade their Luka Doncic for the Warriors AD, so they didn't have many options to go with. They tried to grab KD from the Phoenix Suns, but the Slim Reaper said heck no. Number 35 shut that down quick. The front office quickly pivoted and decided to go with Jimmy Buckets, who was disgruntled with his situation in Miami. So on the 7th of February, the Warriors traded Maple Jordan for Butler, their consolation prize. Finally, there was some amount of hope renewed for Warriors fans, because Jimmy is a postseason monster who earned himself the nickname Playoff Jimmy. So what did the Jimmy Butler acquisition mean for the Dubs? Well, he is definitely an upgrade to Wiggs on offense and a bit on defense. They got a second guy who could help Steph carry the scoring load in a reliable way, plus he could lead the offense for a few minutes when Curry needs a sub. Jimmy can also double as a second playmaker to help out the offense, and he is just a straight-up hustler who plays hard. The Warriors are quickly figuring out how to run plays for Jimmy and Steph together, and it seems like they could make a dangerous two-headed monster. It won't be the same dynamic as when Klay and Steph were running together, but that could be looked at as a good thing. Jimmy isn't the best distance shooter, but he provides a threat from the mid-range and in the paint. Teams will have to figure out how to guard both him and Steph while they're being aggressive. Since the trade, the Warriors have gone 18-5. That's one of the best records in the league since the trade deadline. Looking at it as a casual fan, the Warriors are looking monstrously scary. It would seem as if Jimmy has brought back the Dubs' winning culture. But is there something that's being overlooked? I think so. Answer me this question. Where are the Warriors in the standings as of late? They're at the 6th spot, right? Okay, now answer me this. Over the last 20 games when they've gone 16-4, how many teams are above them in the power rankings that they've played? Yeah, 2 games. And in that loss against Denver, the Nuggets played without Joker, without Murray, and without Christian Braun. So how can the Warriors and their fans claim to be back in championship stride when the level of competition they face, for the most part, isn't the same caliber as what they'll see in the playoffs? They've beaten mostly lottery teams and only a few playoff teams from the Eastern Conference, like the Pistons, Bucks, and Knicks. I'll give it to them. That Bucks win was significant, but the other opponents were nothing too big to phone home about. Golden State was recently at the top of the team net efficiency rating leaderboard since the Jimmy trade. Some Dubs fans interpreted that to mean that the Warriors are the hottest team in the NBA, neglecting to realize that they were playing the easiest schedule over those 17 or so games. So they should have the best net rating. They also didn't realize that the top teams playing tougher opponents were performing comparably better than the Warriors over that span of games. So what is my assessment of this current Warriors team? Are the Golden State Warriors legit or fool's gold? My vote is definitely fool's gold. Here's why I know they aren't legit contenders. At the start of the season, moves needed to be made and nothing was done. The team started off pretty well and the fans, for the most part, were content and happy, just like they are now. The front office decided to ride it out and see what happens. Expectedly, the wheels fell off pretty fast, sending the team into a downward spiral and the organization into a panic. They scrambled at the trade deadline and got unlucky with grabbing Jimmy right before the easiest portion of the schedule. That's right, I said unlucky. Let me explain. Jimmy getting added to the team at this juncture makes it seem as if his presence is the main reason for the team's current success. But in actuality, the weakness of their opponents has more to do with it than anything. The Warriors fan base don't see it like that, and as a result is again suffering from a false sense of security and delusion. That could very much carry over into the offseason. If that does happen, the front office will say, "We have Jimmy, let's see how the start of the season goes before we make any major moves." The future, not looking so bright for Steph. As I said, the Golden State Warriors are fool's gold, just like they were at the start of the season with the blistering start. Look at it this way. Before the trade deadline, the team lacked size and a bench. Now after the trade deadline, the team still lacks size and a bench. So if you really think about it, can they truly be legit contenders if they barely have enough to even get to the first round? They have to go through at least one of these duos to get to the finals. Joker and Gordon, or Chet and Hartenstein. I, for one, don't see that happening. For all of those who think otherwise, I'll throw you a bone. The last 8 games of their season will see them playing 6 teams who will be playing for seeding. If they can win 6 or even 5 of those 8, then we can talk about them being legit. Until then, take a seat, be quiet, chill out, and go watch the other videos on the channel. I'm dropping some more heat soon. See you then.